My hope for COP26 is that it provides a list of tangible solutions that are led by scientific evidence rather than by emotions, greed, or self-interest.
COP26 has got the potential to bring together every country in the world to push forward solutions for climate. We desperately need to reduce our carbon footprint, reduce the greenhouse gas emissions that are going out into the environment, and really tackle climate change head on. We don't have much time to do this, and I'm pinning all my hopes on the fact that COP26 can really push this forward.
I would like to see both national and global action and commitment that is proportionate to the scale of the problem that the planet faces. And I would like to see policy commitments that aren't refracted through the prism of political feasibility or economic risk aversion, so that the actions that are put in place reflect the urgency of the situation that we face today. Because quite frankly, the stakes are now far too high, and now is not the time to kick the can further down the road.
I think what would be really helpful is if we could get a stronger societal sense, so governments, individuals, communities, businesses, NGOs and so on, much stronger sense of what the reality of a net zero transition is going to mean.
I think what we really need is meaningful action. We're starting to see commitments around the world, and now what we really need to do is get on and do the research and development and investment right now.
I think that COP26, a critical summit for the future of our planet, could be a turning point and provide a real opportunity for finding new ways of speeding up the transition from conventional energy to clean, green, renewable energy.
I'd love to see global leadership from our world leaders for the first time. This is the missing piece of the puzzle. It's absolutely essential for us to get on the right tracks with regards to lowering the world's carbon footprints.
I really hope that the world's governments can use COP26 to agree to ambitious emissions targets to match the stated ambition in the Paris Agreement.
Why not set really ambitious goals for the future in terms of carbon emissions reductions and as well more progress towards green energy.
My hope and wishes for COP26 is that we actually put in place the policies and mechanisms needed to ensure that emissions stay within 1.5 degrees. And I truly believe that that's possible while allowing countries who currently have less to develop, and allowing also countries which are already quite wealthy to still have a high quality of life.
My hope for COP26 is that rich countries recognize their responsibilities to the planet and the rest of the world. Climate change is not just about solving a technical problem, it's fundamentally about justice. So richer countries like the UK need to radically decarbonize and reduce emissions, show some leadership and solidarity, and be prepared to make amends. It's important that corporate players that are known for environmental destruction, pollution, and dispossession of lives and livelihoods are not allowed to get away with greenwashing at COP26. And most importantly, it's vital to listen more to people on the front line and find ways to support them in locally appropriate ways to adapt to the changes brought about by climate disruption.
I hope COP26 is no longer just about sweet diplomacy talk. At least do one thing for real, like a commitment to slow commodities-driven deforestation, to save rainforests like in Borneo, to save people in my hometown, for example, and other parts of the world.
No one is safe from the health impacts of climate change, but the health impacts of using biomass fuel for cooking disproportionately affects households in rural communities in Africa. COP26 is a fitting platform to discuss alternative sources of fuel, which is fit for use in households in rural Africa.
It's really important to talk about the kind of things that we're funding at the moment and that we're working on, what's appropriate for different communities and different communities with different kinds of roles amongst the people within those communities, and what works for them in terms of the science and technology solutions that can be developed. They need to be participating in some of these processes as well. And so it's really important that we keep doing this kind of work where we're combining people and researchers from all different sectors in a participatory way. And I'm really excited that we're going to keep this conversation going in Glasgow.
I'm really excited about COP26 because there is growing recognition that business as usual in our food system is not compatible with meeting our climate targets. But the question still remains, what should business unusual look like? There is a key role for research to play here, but to create a truly shared vision of what our future food system should look like, one that can inspire people to change their behaviour and for policy changes to be enacted, that's going to require cross-stakeholder collaboration.
My hope for COP26 is that there will be a focus on conservation and promotion of genetic diversity across biological systems.
What I really want to see from COP26 is an international commitment to protect the ocean. At the moment, only 2% of the ocean is protected from fishing and mining, but at COP26 we could choose to protect 30% of the ocean by 2030. The 30 by 30 initiative would not only protect marine life, habitats, fish stocks and biodiversity from fishing and mining, but also healthy ecosystems are a lot better at sequestering carbon. This would allow a buffer to protect the ocean from the wider threat of climate change.
One thing I hope that comes out of COP, new research on governance and a new model for disaster risk management to be encouraged. We argue that mechanisms and strategies for disaster resilience can enhance preparedness for early and better recovery that prevents the emergence of new risks to epidemics such as COVID-19.
I very much hope that COP26 will show the importance of working together to address these challenges on the climate crisis, and it will accelerate action towards more effective collaboration between scientists at universities like mine, along with governments, businesses and civil society.
I'd like to see governments moving beyond looking just at cost or just at carbon. And I want to see more integration across the range of priorities that are important to so many people. Because real change will only happen once we start to break down these silos in policymaking.
So all we want as researchers is not only the big numbers, our big targets, but we want to know the boundary conditions and a roadmap which includes what kind of funding we are getting, what kind of collaborations we can form, and we want to get on with it so that we can go and achieve our environmental targets. We are, as researchers, we are passionate about it. We want to achieve it. We just want the policymakers to back us with that, showing us a clear roadmap.
The one thing I hope comes from COP26 is the elimination of VAT from sustainable clothing.
The key thing I hope to come out of COP26 is a firm agreement and an international programme which will limit global heating to 1.5 degrees. Through the exhibition and associated events, though, we aim to highlight the value of participatory arts, humanities and social science-based research in developing creative solutions to the climate crisis and adapting to climate change to contribute to this aim.
Our Polar Zero exhibition is part of a global conversation at COP26. The question of polar history is so vast and so complex that occasionally the magnitude of the subject doesn't allow the proximity or a sense of intimacy with the subject itself. We hope to provoke a deeper awareness of our relationship to the glacial past, present and future.
In terms of COP26 and the agenda of the conference, I have an interest in how woodland expansion, forest expansion, can help us soak up carbon and contribute to climate mitigation. How we can improve tree cover in urban environments, and what needs to be done really to protect our forests, our future forests, from diseases, pests and diseases, which may of course themselves be driven by climate change.
I hope that the COP26 conference in Glasgow will make people more aware to see how climate change affects our woodlands. We need to do much more than now to keep them from disappearing.
At COP26, I hope that there will be an understanding of what the science results mean for everyone, and that action will be taken to solve the problems of climate change in the world which our children and grandchildren are inheriting from us.
Our hope for the COP26 meeting is that the delegates will recognise and listen to the voices of young people and to build them into actions that arise from the meeting. Children and young people of today will be tasked as adults with delivering the ambitions of COP26, and they need to be valued and empowered to become the labour that meets this greatest of challenges.
It needs a global effort from policymakers using science to inform these hard decisions. And I am hoping that this year's COP26 will be the time that this happens, when we come together as one to make the changes that are needed.